Hey there, I'm Lindsay Dreyer, host of the Joyfulpreneur podcast, where I share tips, tricks, and strategies to help women entrepreneurs maximize joy and freedom in their lives and businesses. Let's dive into today's episode. Today, I'm talking with Kathleen Ribeiro. She is a business systems specialist and a road warrior. She will refer to herself as a nomad even, and she is embarking on a pretty epic cross-country and back trip this summer. We're going to talk about embracing freedom on the open road. And if you ever have the dream of traveling a lot, potentially RVing, and just enjoying the van life, you are going to really enjoy our conversation. I want to know, how did your life on the open road start?
My boyfriend was already on the road, right? And that's how I met him. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I got to see him have freedom and living his best life. He could be there not only for himself, for his clients, but his family. And I was like, wow, that's something I really want to do too. So I transitioned from managing an auto body for 10 years to then becoming a VA, to then realize I really like systems. So now I do business systems. So I got to see how cool it was, right? I got to be like, oh, this is nice. I got to do little trips here and there. I'm like, okay, I can definitely do this full time. I can minimize my life and have that, just knowing you have freedom was just great. So I hopped into the virtual assistant world. I took a look around. I realized that, wow, I can make a difference. And I went from there. I started in January of last year. And within 4 months, I quit my 9-to-5 and I was free to take my laptop, the van, and the road and just explore.
That is so fun. I think freedom is one of the things that every entrepreneur is looking for. We all want freedom to do what we want, be where we want, have what we want. So I'm really excited for our conversation because I think that this is hopefully going to open people's eyes to how to have more freedom in their lives and maybe think outside of the box on how they can make it happen in their business. So let's talk about systems. I am guessing, since you're a systems person, this is probably the most important one. So what systems are important when you are trying to maximize your freedom on the open road?
So for me, the number one system you have to have, and the number one thing you have to think about with being an entrepreneur, having freedom, being on the open road, is think about your client journey. And your client journey will tell you what systems you need. And the number one is definitely a CRM system, which is your customer relationship management. That is going to take your cold lead that's on your website, that's on, your social platforms, clicking to inquire with you, all the way to not only working with you, paying for you, getting their deliverables, offboarding, and at the end, you're saying your thank you email, even post being a client. I always say, when your client journey is over, it's not over, right? You want to make sure you're keeping in contact with them. So think about your client journey, but have the most epic CRM system set up so that you are not doing all of the heavy work. You're doing the heavy work once, and then maybe every 3 to 6 months, you're making sure that your heavy work is paying off. But, when I'm on the open road, someone inquires with me, they're already getting follow-up emails. Once we okay it, they're getting their questionnaires. They're getting more videos from me. It's so automated that I don't have to do every single thing. So I know that my business is running for me in the back end, and I just have to pop in and be like, yep, it's all working, looks great, hop back out. My system is working for me. So I would say the number one system to implement is your CRM, and then you can kind of go from there.
So when you're looking at a CRM, what do you feel like are the most important features for somebody who is looking to be on the open road or maximize their freedom?
So I usually use two, Dubsado and HoneyBook, but a lot of CRMs that are out there kind of have the same features. So you are going to start taking a look at automations. How much can you actually automate? And then workflows. How big can your workflows be? How many workflows can you create? So I don't recommend having too many offers, just because that just makes your life a little bit more difficult. But, having one or two major offers and making sure that you can have the proper workflows for them and the proper automations to make it easier for you are definitely the two features. But then, there's so many other features. Some of them include schedulers. You can add in your Gmail so that your calendars are synced too. So if you're using 1,000 calendars, they're all synced into your one CRM system and you're not overlapping yourself, right? You got to think that you're going to be in different time zones. So having a scheduler that's there that knows your schedule, you won't start overlapping things. So look at all the features that includes what makes sense for you. Maybe you want control over something, so you don't necessarily need this feature, so you might not need this system. But definitely think of what are all the systems you use now. Is there a CRM that includes all of the systems so you're not overpaying for things? And then do they have the features and the things that you actually need?
So I can imagine if you're a experienced business owner looking to create more freedom or create more systems so you can have more geographic flexibility, it looks different than somebody who's building their business from the ground up. So what advice do you give to somebody who is an experienced entrepreneur? They are planning on doing the van life or, moving to Bali and doing 6 months there, whatever. What do you recommend for them? Because I feel like they've probably built their business in a different way and they're almost backtracking. So what advice do you have for them?
So for that is, take an overall look at your business. Take already look at the systems you have. Write down what each system does, and then maybe try to find a system that does it all. Maybe they have a CRM, but it's limited, right? So I haven't gotten really into it, but I know, hairstylists and, salons have different CRM systems than maybe an overall service provider. That's because it does a little bit more to picking the haircut you want, right? But they don't, in the back end, they don't have all of this extra stuff that an overall CRM system has. So I know that's just one example because I know they have specific ones for them. So take an overall picture of what you do. Then every single task within your business, create an SOP for it.
Yep.
So I feel like a lot of experienced business owners just do everything. They just know how to do it. They're going to get it done, but they haven't written it down somewhere. Once you start writing down your SOPs and how it takes to get something done, you're going to be like, wow, I'm doing a workaround. Why am I doing so many extra steps? I can simplify it. Not only can I simplify it, I can delegate it. Not only can I simplify, delegate it, I can automate it. You know what I mean? So it's when you start your business, you're like, okay, I have to do this. I have to do admin. I have to be creative. I have to do that. There's so much you have to do in a business. So you kind of just do it all, but you don't really think of what you're doing and how you're doing it. So take a step back, write down everything you do. Can it be simplified, delegated, or automated? And that's going to help you to either, maybe you need an assistant for 10 hours a month to help you. Maybe just having the correct systems, the correct CRM, project management, takes that task completely off your plate. So slow down, write out your SOPs, see where you can go from there.
It's probably going to feel like taking 100 steps backwards, but it's one of those things where it's worth the pain, the short-term pain for the long-term gain, because
Absolutely.
I feel like for every business owner, especially entrepreneurs, you're always looking to, we're in survival mode so often where we're just
Yeah.
I wear every hat and I'm just doing the best I can. And then we tend to dive into what we're really good at and really perfect that piece of the business. But the other stuff we're I don't know about that. I'm just going to leave that one alone. So in terms of what you're offering, is there a strategy or do you have recommendations on what offers you have? How do you craft your offers? Do you simplify your offers? What advice do you have around that?
So for me, I have 2 ways. You can break it down to 2 ways you can work with me. I have my long-term clients who I've had forever. I've grown with them. I have, I went from just their VA to their project manager to, their business systems that I've grown with. But I don't overdo it for myself. I know having 4 is good. You know what I mean? I can batch things for them. So having long-term clients, I'm not going to say don't do it because they're great. You're going to get that income, at the end of the month, and you can definitely plan more knowing that But then again, when it comes to having other offers, project based, whether it's, I do VIP days and VIP weeks, a VIP week, just 1 week. So, offering these VIP, do it for you services helps you plan out. You're like, okay, my work days are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I can book VIP days on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And again, making sure you have that CRM system where they're booking their VIP day, but they're sending in all the information you need before you even start that VIP day. So all you do, on Monday morning, I'm going to do, Jane Doe's project. It's going to take me just the day, and that is how I schedule it out. She already sent in everything for me. So I would look at how you can take whatever your business is, how can you make it a VIP day? Or, I do VIP weeks where if you're doing more than one system, it's going to take me a few days. But again, I start on Monday, I'm over by Friday, and I can plan. So having these small bite-sized offers that have high value are great for being on the road. You can plan it out. You make sure you have everything. And you can still offer things for your clients and be like, hey, I'm still here for you. Like, what can I do? How can we make magic happen?
So if you have someone who is a little bit of a longer term client, how do you deal with expectations on your availability?
So I am super transparent. I'm like, hey, I'm a part-time nomad. I am probably going to be on different time zones at sometimes. I'm super transparent. I over communicate. I find that works best because I have been, you say it once, they forget. You put on their calendar, they might not check their calendar. I over communicate. I let them know, 2 months in advance, hey, my structure is changing. And then I remind them, hey, my structure changing. And I pick days I'm going to work. So I have an upcoming trip and I'm going to work on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. So now they know that I have working days, not times, because again, I will be on so many different time zones. So I can't do that. So I'm like, okay, these are my 3 days. Our weekly meetings has now turned into once a month. Now we're going to use Loom, Voxer, email, within our CRM system. So we choose which mode of communication that we are going to keep checking. I let them know my VIP, my days that I will be working, and they're great about it. The clients that I can batch, I have batched months of work for them, and it's there. So all I have to do at the end of the day is take a look at it, make sure it looks good, hit schedule, or make sure it looks good, send it. So I let them know, super transparent, over communicate. I make sure that, I won't be 100% MIA. They know exactly how to contact me, when to contact me, and when they're going to get that work from me.
So setting expectations, it sounds like, is crucial. You need to make
100%.
Sure they know where you are, when you're available, when you can be reached, what your response time is, all of that. But then it also sounds like there's a trust component where they know you're going to deliver when you say you're going to. So
I must say I have built up the trust. I always say, okay, give me 48 hours, right? Sometimes do I do it before 48 hours? 100%. Sometimes I'm like bored on a Friday night. I haven't went out. I'm going to get this project done, right? So and whenever I say, hey, this due date isn't going to work for me, I let them know 2 days before it's not going to work for me, not an hour before it's due.
Right.
So I have built up the trust with the clients that I do have. And I let them know from the discovery call, hey, I'm a part-time nomad. It's not like I'm traveling every other, week, but there will be some times where for a few months at a time, I am not 100% available the way that I am now. Transparent from the get-go. I've had a client, we didn't end up being a client, but I had a discovery call of a woman who was also a nomad, and she loved it. And I was like, wow, this is going to work great. She came back to me. She goes, you know what? Like, I know I'm a nomad, but I don't want my assistant to be one because I need more structure.
Yeah.
100% fine, but I'm glad we didn't get into 2 nomads working together and it not working out. So I let her know from the beginning, at some point I will also be a nomad as you, and that just wasn't something she was looking for.
I love your honest approach. I think that we aren't going to be a fit for everybody, and knowing your boundaries and knowing who you are going to be a fit for, it just sounds like you have to be even more cognizant of that when you are on the open road.
And it seems kind of like common sense to some people, but it's not. So for my clients that are on long-term, I'm their project manager. And we've recently had somebody who decided to do the open road sort of thing, right? She's flying to different cities, but she didn't tell us that until like the week before she decided to take a few months and hit the open road.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. She's also a contractor, so it's not like, you know what I mean? You do you sort of thing. But then last week, or 2 weeks ago, she was like, hey, by the way, next week, and this was already like on a Wednesday, she was like, I'm going to be completely MIA for the whole week next week. And I was like, you couldn't have planned that out any better? And she was like, well, I told so-and-so. I'm like, well, so-and-so isn't your project manager. Like, so, there's things like that where it's like overly communicating, letting people know, because now like she's a designer and I needed a logo and I don't have native files for it because she didn't leave it.
Oh.
And now she's gone for a week. You know what I mean? So it's like being transparent in every part of it, over communicating, make sure you and your clients or whoever else might be on your team has access to the files. And if you ever get me going on that, I'm going to say you need a project management system and you need to like use that up when you have a team, or just if it's just you and your client, just having a place where all the information needed is in one spot so you're not waiting for people. I don't ever want my client to be like, I couldn't get something done because you had it. Like, no. Like everything is where it's supposed to be. It's nice and organized. And I told you like 2 months ago.
Yeah. So there's definitely going to be people who are not as organized as you. And I think that the nomad life tends to attract the free spirits. That's just my vibe. That's just what I'm guessing. So if you are a free spirit type on the open road and you are not super organized, what advice do you have for them on how they can get organized?
Right. So I think I am not so much the free spirit.
I'm not either.
Not like the
I want
creative
to be.
type. I'm super, like I need a list for everything.
Same.
Getting ready for this trip, I'm just like, this goes here, this goes that. Like, what can we throw away and make room? Like, I'm not that much. I need a plan. As much as like, oh, we're gonna go. Like, I need some sort of plan, and I understand that sometimes having a plan or being organized can be overwhelming, which is fine. But start small. If you can organize at least one thing, it's going to get easier instead of like, oh my God, I have to organize my whole business to go on the road. Would that be perfect? Sure. Organize it before you hit it. Or start small, like organizing your calendar to making sure that you have time blocks in there so that nobody else is scheduling a time with you when you're supposed to be driving for 16 hours that day. And then start with like, okay, well, let me organize, if you do have a CRM or you're going to start implementing your customer relationship management, then you start organizing that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, is a project management system. I know it sounds kind of scary. You're like, well, I don't need project management. We all need project management. It's just a fancy word of organizing your business.
It's a fancy checklist.
You don't have to be a project manager. You don't even have to know about what project management is. It's an organization tool for you, even if you are a solopreneur. Just having everything organized where you have your tasks in a place for your recurring tasks, reminders. You're not looking through your drive trying to find one thing that you sent months ago. It's all in one spot. So start small. If organization isn't your thing, I would definitely start with your calendar, making sure nothing's overbooking. Your CRM, your project management, start small and start organizing things. And then at some point you're going to be like, wow, like I'm actually organized for once.
I love that I agree with you. Start with your calendar. I think that is probably the most important piece, especially when you're on the road. Like you have your drive days, you have your days that you're exploring. So like just make sure that those are blocked off because that will just make your life so much easier.
100%. And not just, honestly, not even when you're on the open road, 100%. I have everything in there. Like my days are blocked. No more, I'm actually trying to cut meetings for myself. So I'm switching over to another system that does video. So I'm cutting meetings, but it's like you want to make sure you also have time to do your work on the road. So if you're like, well, I'm only going to work 3 days a week, but then now you have like half of those days are meetings, you're still not getting work done, you know? So blocking time for just sitting down and getting work done, whether you're on the open road or not, is super valuable.
I'm on the open road this summer, and that 100% has to happen for me. So I have to have at least like 1 hour a day that I have my laptop, and I am going through the inbox and like clearing out what needs to be clear, because my team is amazing, but there's still stuff that pops up that you have to deal with. So let's talk about preparation. I think we've already kind of dive into this a little bit, but I feel like from my point of view, and I wonder if you feel the same, is that preparation is like the key, like the most important thing.
Yep. I've planned myself and my clients until about October.
I love it.
So we are currently in May. And from May, June, July, August, September, October, I know for myself, I have done, my newsletters are all prepped, drafted. All you have to do is, making sure everything looks good, hitting send. My blogs are actually all created and scheduled within my website. My social media is created and put inside my project management for my assistant to go ahead and start posting them when she can. For me, it's, not that social media and blogs and newsletters are so important and they're a huge convert rate for me. It's showing up, right? I'm not hitting the open road as a vacationer. I'm hitting it as a nomad, as a business owner.
Right.
So I still have expectations for myself as a business owner to still show up for people. And it's not just, making sure that I'm posting on social media and you have to do this. It's like, hey, like I still want to give you information. I still want to find a way to help people. I'm just taking a trip while doing it. Right. For my clients too, there's a lot of things that I do, repetitive tasks for them where I've already prepped until October, or at least the next few months, whether it's, the blogs or social media or whatever it might be for them. I'm also, prepping things. And that's not to say like your home life, you have to prep your home life. You have to prep the van. We did tires. We're going to do brakes and oil change ourselves. We strip the bed. It's so much. And again, just like the way that you were doing, you're organizing, you're doing it step by step. So, you take a day and you do all your newsletters. You take a day and you do everything for one client. You take a day and do everything inside the home. And you're not doing anything last minute. Try not to do anything last minute. But you are prepping so much because you, at the end of the day, are still a business owner. You're still somebody who cares about your business and your clients or future clients, or somebody that just needs information, and that one blog that you post in the middle of August that you wrote a few months ago might help that one extra person and you didn't know. So you're not a vacationer, you're a nomad, you're still working, you're still showing up.
I love that distinction, because I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm just going to check out. Don't need to do anything. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you don't have clients, you're not making money. And so I talk a lot about your sales pipeline, and you have to still be consistently filling your sales pipeline. And so you're consistently showing up in your newsletter, your social media, your blog, and your clients aren't really going to know that you're on the open road, or your potential clients, I should say. Like they're just seeing you showing up consistently. And that's such a key to just being an entrepreneur in general, is that like your pipeline is your lifeline. Like that is what keeps you fed. And so if you aren't showing up consistently, you're not going to have a consistent pipeline. So
that's giving you the freedom to go on the open road.
Exactly.
I mentioned to somebody and they're like, well, you're taking 3 months off. No, this is not a vacation. This is a trip that I have allowed myself to be able to enjoy while still working.
I think that's something that so many people don't understand about entrepreneurship, is that you really never check out. You never really turn off. We do have freedom. Geographic freedom, I think, is a huge one, where you can be wherever you want to be and still be getting the job done. But in order to prepare for the open road versus prepare for a vacation, those are two totally separate things.
Oh my God, yep.
Like totally separate.
I'm not taking a vacation. A vacation is all inclusive. Someone takes my phone away. There is no Wi-Fi, or there's Wi-Fi everywhere nowadays, but I'm not connected to any Wi-Fi. Just swim up bar somewhere.
Yes.
I'm completely shut off. I don't have to think about anything for a few days, and that's okay.
Oh, I think that's every entrepreneur's dream is just turn the phone off. Like you just want to turn it off. You don't want to hear from anybody. You want to have your drink in hand and just chillax. Whereas I think it's the difference between like an adventure and a vacation. They're two separate things. And so I think what we're talking about today is prepping yourself for adventures.
For the adventure.
Yeah. Like you're just able to experience different adventures if you are setting up your business to be really flexible.
Yeah, like one day you are, replying to client emails, and the next day you're jumping off a waterfall and you're like, okay, balance. This is what everybody talks about.
Yeah. Like you're able to have these incredible life experiences that you wouldn't have had otherwise if you didn't have this business that gives you this flexibility and the freedom. So yeah, totally. Like entrepreneurship is hard, but it also comes with so many gifts and so much amazingness. So it's definitely a trade-off, but yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't have it any other way. I love it so much. So is there anything else in preparing, personally, your business, your clients?
So like I mentioned, my clients, I've let them know for months now. We've changed things around. They know, they're like, okay, Kathleen, like this is what we're going to do. So I've prepped them. I've prepped some work for them. And then for me, like I said, I've prepped work for me. I've prepped work for my assistant that is helping me. Personal life too. It's like I started hitting the gym more consistently because now I have to literally climb into bed. We're going to do a lot of like walking when we're doing trails, but also we're going to be sitting for long periods of time. So I switched my gym membership to make sure that I have a gym that I can find in the US and Canada. So those long days of driving, I can go to the gym. Not only am I washing up, but I'm walking a little bit, I'm stretching. So super important health-wise. I've been adding more greens. I've been drinking my greens to try to stay more consistent because it's going to be a total lifestyle change where I'm sitting for most of it. If I'm not working, we're driving sort of thing. So making sure that my body has what it needs.
Such a good point.
To continue.
Eating healthy on the open road is a lot harder. So yeah.
So one of the first few times, you get sucked into it and you're like, oh, I'll just grab McDonald's real quick. Or when you start going down south, there's all these like other fast food places that you don't have up north. And you're like, well, we'll just get Bojangles is a big one. So if anybody in the south is listening, send some to me. Bojangles has amazing fried chicken. So we're like, okay, let's get the fried chicken, the biscuits, this and that. And it takes a toll on your body for sure. So our new thing is, even if we want something that's not healthy, we pair it with like a bag salad that we have in the van. So it's like we have fried chicken, but we also have a salad. Or, we have this, but we also have something healthy in the van. We have our yogurt or something like that. So still enjoy, but it does take a toll on your body. Eating healthier, getting what your body needs, exercising. Start now so that it's not a total 180 when you start hitting the road. Hitting the road is already the 180, but making sure that you're taking care of your body before that and during that too. That's a huge part of prepping.
What gym membership did you get?
So I went from Crunch to Anytime.
Okay.
Because Anytime is open 24/7. They have locations in the US and Canada.
That's awesome.
And since we'll be traveling through Canada, that's great. I've already mapped out every single gym that I'll hit throughout my whole trip.
Those hot showers are legit amazing. Like if you need the hot shower.
Yep. Day 3, I start getting cranky. I need to find a shower somewhere, somehow. We do have a way of taking a shower within the van. So worst case scenario, I have taken a shower van lifestyle before. Right. But I do start getting cranky. That's definitely one thing where, I need my shower. Going to the gym, even if it's for half an hour and walking after sitting all day, stretching, super important. So I am hitting Anytime Fitness. So if they ever want to sponsor me, I'm totally for it.
I was really trying to get you a sponsorship. So we will give them a free shout out.
24 hours. I know people can't see me. If they see my picture, I have wild curly hair. I need a shower. I need to do my full hair care routine every few days. So going to the gym at like midnight where no one's there, I can diffuse my hair for the next hour. I'm not inconveniencing anyone.
I love it. It's like, I never thought about like the personal prep really of like, you need to do that. Like we go on like 7 to 10 day RV trips. So like I can kind of get a taste of the road life a little bit, but the gym thing makes so much sense because you just want to be in a real shower.
And then you switch from like having a regular towel to now you have like a big microfiber towel to make sure that it's actually, drying and there's no extra moisture, because in the van, you don't want any extra moisture. You want to make sure everything's nice and dry. Yeah. There's definitely things to think about that you wouldn't have if you're just like, oh, I'm just going to take a trip. Like, nope, there's a little bit more.
Oh, well, any final tips about going on the open road with your business or yourself?
Definitely. It's TikTok and social media and everything makes it seem like all you have to do is hop into a beautifully built van and hit the road. Prep, make sure you're taking the time to having everything in order. If you work online, if you have a business, it's definitely something that you should try maybe once. The U.S. is huge compared to so much, and there's so much to see, and you feel like you're on a different planet depending on where you go. So if you have the time, take the time, do it, hit the road, but organize, prep for it, make sure that you feel comfortable and you're not just hopping into a nicely built van and you're like, yeah, I'll just figure this out as I go. Let's not do that. Let's take the right steps to making sure that not only are you enjoying yourself as a person, as a human, but your business will also thrive. And that will, there's so many versions of success, but that's one of them where you have that balance of running business and also the freedom of hitting the road and exploring.
If our listeners want to find you, what's the best way for them to connect?
So definitely hit me up on Instagram. I will reply back. It's going to be _KM Service. Hitting me up on my website is going to be www.kmservice.co. And then my email is kathleen@kmservice.co. I will be checking them a few days a week while on the road, so I will be replying.
Well, I wish you safe travels, and I hope you have a blast. You are in for the adventure of a lifetime, and I hope that you and your boyfriend just have the best time ever.
Thank you so much. I know we will. We'll post it, so if you guys start following, you'll see some inside pictures and videos.
Before I let you go, I wanted to let you know that I have a 5-day Spark Joy Challenge, and it is totally free, available on my website. You can go to joyfulpreneur.link/podcast. The link is also in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to the Joyfulpreneur podcast. Remember to check the show notes for all the links and resources mentioned in this episode. Your reviews also mean the world to me. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Until next time, stay joyful.